Hey everyone, I hope you had a great day. Today we are looking at some new malicious compliance stories. I hope you enjoy them. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps. The first story is called All Because We Hated Paperwork. I work as a software sales rep. That means needing a good smartphone due to travel. The company used to just give us $100 a month in our paycheck for telecommunications reimbursement, which was great. My $180 per month phone plan went down to $80. It was a family plan that included monthly payments for phone and service. Then, some bean counter that did an analysis of average phone plan costs suddenly changed the rule. You now needed to submit a bill each month for reimbursement. And the company would reimburse 50% of the bill, up to $100. If I did everything the same, I'm now short $10 a month. Really not a big deal, but it meant doing more paperwork for me. And I hate paperwork. Luckily, a good friend was a store manager at Verizon and the iPhone 8 was just coming out. I went to see him. He couldn't do anything about the price of the phone, but he could work magic on the plans. He also got me the max trade-in for my old phone, which had essentially been paid for by the company's $100 monthly stipend. So now I got a return, because I took it as a gift card instead of credit to the new agreement. As a result, my monthly bill was now $200 a month. So that $10 change in expenses still happened. But my plan got upgraded and so did my wife's. And I had a brand new phone and a $150 gift card. And I helped my friend because they had incentives to get people on the new iPhones and switch plans. Then at work the next day I told all my coworkers. They were roughly in the same boat, with the new reimbursement policy costing them between $10 to $20 a month. We took a long lunch and went to see my friend, and they all did the same thing. My friend ended up getting Salesman of the Month, a nice bonus check, and it helped with the eventual promotion to District Manager. We all got new phones, and most got a decent trade-in. And we lost the same amount we would have per month, while the company didn't save a dime on any of us like they thought they would. Word spread through multiple offices, and I would estimate at least 40 people did the same. All because we hated paperwork. The next story is called My Numbers Aren't High Enough. This happened a year and a half ago. I took a job in the warehouse of a large aviation company. We did aftermarket modifications and repairs for a much larger aviation company and a large heavy-set people-opposed airline. The first 2 weeks were great. I worked hard to learn the programs and even helped the major airline with their annual inventory. 2 months in, I learned I was pregnant. So I started having doctor's appointments. And my kid was having issues in school, so my phone was constantly going off. But that was no big deal. My parts processed numbers were still above average. And I did most of the part runs and emergency parts in the middle of processing 200 parts a week. But a coworker of mine was not happy I was on my phone and reported me to our managers. They called me in and it was about my phone usage, so I said okay. They also mentioned my numbers. They were saying that I should do more since I won't be on my phone. Okay boss. In the company, your parts are listed by how many serial numbers you move. So if I had a box of 84 generators, I did one transaction, one serial number, moving them from stock to inventory. I figured out other people would do 84 transactions, moving every single generator or other part to its inventory location. Since I was out of the warehouse for 4 hours a day doing part runs, my numbers were lower. So I started playing that game. In 1 week, my 200 parts shoot up to 744 parts. And because the printing of the text took so long, I was able to take phone calls and text. Inevitably, about 2 weeks later, I got called back into the office about my phone usage. I just smiled and pulled out my reports of transactions and the drive logs showing how long I was gone. And how often I took the part runs, the hot parts login and my report from HR of all the locations I had scanned my badge. They told me my numbers should be higher. I was the top producer of my shift of 4 people and to stay off my phone. A week later, 2 people quit, leaving just me and my former trainer who was complaining about me non-stop. After a chat with HR, I was told to just deal with it. Smiling, I told her to have a great day. I called in sick through the weekend and got a doctor's note. I was 4 months pregnant at this point. I then sent an email at 4 AM Monday morning with my evidence of why I was quitting, effective immediately. Company rules stated you had to call in at least 30 minutes prior, and I was 1.5 hours early, leaving my whiny former trainer to do all the runs in stock himself. They called me multiple times to come back, but that was not happening. The next story is called Just Followed the Orders. My job title is hard to explain, but I do some basic engineering, manage a shop, and am in charge of all the purchasing for the shop. I work directly with mechanical and electrical engineering, which by itself can be a difficult thing to do at times. I was given a directive by 2 engineers and a sales manager on an electrical project. They needed the modification of some stock, off-the-shelf type electrical motors for a large project we'd bid on and received approval on. Typically, with things like this, I'm given the ability to determine what materials and tools that may be needed to complete these types of jobs. But lately, the company seems disorganized. I've been given pretty vague directives, followed up by undermining and questioning insignificant obscure things that have ultimately had no bearing on any of the projects, which in turn has wasted quite a bit of my time. When asked why my decisions were being scrutinized so much, I didn't really get any clear reasoning. They seemed bothered that I would even ask such a question. Well, this time around, I was explicitly told to have our installers, technicians, and our machinists pick out all of their own needed materials, and to hand that off to the engineering team, where they would review it and then hand it back off to me for ordering. Great, that's fine, that's less legwork for me anyhow. Well, I did as I was instructed to do. I ordered all of what was requested, despite seeing a multitude of red flags along the way. We entirely missed the deadline. It brought our business and the customer's entire production line to a screeching halt, and everyone seems to be pointing fingers every which way. The customer is irate and has expressed that this was the last time we'd be allowed to retrofit anything in their facility. This is a long-time repeat customer. Eventually, when the complaints and accusations made their way across my desk, my response was simple. I ordered exactly what I was asked to order, sorry things didn't work out. The last story is called A Little Bit of Revenge. This happened around 25 years ago. I worked in media. Occasionally, many of us who worked together would attend events in the city. They weren't work events, but we usually hung out together. After work, several of us attended an event downtown. There was quite a bit of alcohol and fun was being had by all. I happened to hear Skipper, the local sales manager, who was pretty drunk, tell my friend Joan, who had a girlfriend, that they should let him join them for some fun. She laughed him off and went on with her evening. The next day I asked her about it and she told me he had asked her that several times. But she hadn't done anything about it since he was her boss. I mentioned this to Sue, another friend of mine. She said Skipper had told her that she would be really hot in bed if she would lose weight. She also didn't do anything about it since he was also her boss. Skipper is not my boss. Sparky, the general sales manager, is. And Sparky is also Skipper's boss. And they are buddies. I mentioned to Sparky what happened. He tells me it wasn't a work event, Skipper didn't mean anything about it, they were just having fun. The usual cover-up. I decided to mention it to the head of human resources. 2 days later, he was given the option to resign or be fired. He chose to resign. I'm still annoyed by this, but it was the mid-90s. I mentioned to Sparky that he should have been straight out fired, but he told me that they wanted him to be able to find another job. Especially since he's married and has small children. He tells me that if anyone calls and asks about him to follow our company policy. So just verified that he had worked there and point them to human resources. Now the fun part. 2 weeks later I receive a call from a general sales manager from a different media company. He says Skipper has applied there and put down Sparky as his reference, but that he couldn't get hold of him. I wonder if he would have followed company policy. He figured that local sales managers usually work closely with someone in my position and wonders if I could give him a reference. My brain took a moment to implode. After a shortish pause, I tell him in the most "you know what I mean" voice ever. I would love to tell you how I personally feel about Skipper and why he left his position here. But unfortunately, our policy is to only tell you that he was employed here and you should contact HR for any additional information. He responds that he totally understands and thanks me for my time. I tell Sparky that he missed the call and I spoke with him. Sparky looked like he was going to soil himself. I told him exactly what I said, but without the emphasis or tone. Color returned to his face and he said, "Okay, good." Skipper did not get the job. I'm sure he eventually got one, but I was very pleased that I hopefully made it a little harder for him. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.